Welcome back to the channel, folks. I am Matt. Hope you're all doing well. Today, we are going to check out a whole herd of Remette Rhinos here. I got multiple different variations, and I know that this has been out for some time, but they're coming out with new variations. Like this newest one here is the Crystallized tie premium version that's got M390. So I figured we'd go through all of them, can show you what you get for the different price points, and also review it as we go. Now I'm guessing this is one of their most popular models. It's a great EDC knife. You got a knife blade that's about 3 inches, a little bit over, with kind of an aggressive modified drop point shape. They call it the Rhino because it's meant to look sort of like a rhino horn. You do have thumb studs. And this little cutout here, it's not very deep, so it's not really great for, using it to deploy the knife from my experience, but mileage may vary. But really, the thumb studs are the way to go with this. Now, this is the most budget version. This is their D2 version. I have 2 of those on the table. D2 is actually a decent steel. It's not super corrosion resistant, but it does hold an edge for a good long time if it's heat treated properly. It can chip a little bit as well, but it's not a bad user steel. It was once considered a fairly premium steel out there. The pivot is on ball bearings, and this is a button liner lock design. So not just a regular button lock like a plunge lock. This engages this liner in here. Let me show you on a different one that you can see a little bit better. Here's the 14C version. So see that liner right there? The button will open that up. All right, so you could even potentially use this like a traditional liner lock, but you can also just engage the button. Now back to the D2 version. This one does have G10 scales. This one's got a pretty funky design on it. Does have a reversible pocket clip. Nice hardware on here too, where it's all T8 instead of T6s. Definitely a big plus in my book. There's what the pivot looks like. It's a nice decorative pivot. And on this side, that is T8 as well. And on this budget one, you have a stamped clip, but it works well, and it's deep carry. I have no issues there. And these all are pretty uniform. They all come really centered. There's a backspacer as well with a little spot to connect a lanyard. Now, one thing that's noticeable to me is that with these 2 D2 versions, so this one right here is D2 as well. This is G10 as opposed to the micarta that's 14C. I noticed that the action is not as smooth on them. So it takes a little bit more effort to flick them out. Some people might like that, but it's weird because they all have strong detents, but for some reason on these D2 ones, it takes just a little bit more oomph to flick it out. Here's a thumb flick. All right, so definitely doable, but I have a harder time with the D2 versions on the top flipper. See, there we go. As opposed to, here's the 14C micarta version, a little bit more expensive, just releases a little bit easier and feels a little bit smoother. See if I can get the top on this one. Yeah, kind of. I like the ones that are angled a little bit this way, but it's doable. I find myself always using the thumb studs on these though. Yeah, definitely a smoother action on the micarta 14C version. So anyway, on these 2, the D2 versions, they're about 35 bucks. Definitely a good deal. On this one, it's like a black stonewash finish. And on this one, they call it stonewash, but it's a fine stonewash. Looks more like a bead blast. It's really not much different from the high-end one. So like on the high-end version, they call it a pearlescent. I've used this a bit. It is a little bit more pearly, but it's very similar. The 2 finishes are. Now on the 14C version, your big differences here are micarta on the scales instead of G10. All the hardware looks to be the same. There's what your clip looks like. And this has a micarta backspacer. I got pretty big hands. Ergonomics feel great on this though. I have no issue there. There is some jimping right there. Okay, you could choke up a little bit. Tiny little bit of poon action right there. And it feels good. So there's a couple different ways to hold it. I am a lefty, so I'm holding it like this or like this. And feels good. You could even choke up a little bit, but you don't want to get too close to the blade there. There is a little bit of a sharpening choil as well. It thickens out pretty quickly though, so keep that in mind. Doesn't mean you can't sharpen this up, but you're gonna get kind of a smiley face back here because of the way it thickens up right there. So far we got the G10 D2 versions and then the micarta 14C versions, about a $20 difference, about $35 and about $55. Now the difference in steel is that 14C is going to be a tougher steel. I wouldn't say edge retention is better on it compared to D2, but it's not going to chip as easily, a little bit easier to sharpen, and more of a good hard use steel. Now, moving up a notch, we do have multiple special edition camo carbon ones that I've seen out there. I have a few of them. I have this one and an 80s camo carbon one. Some online stores have had them. They're also sold on Whatnot, places like that, and they generally go for around $100. The upgrades here are basically just the scale material. These usually have a 14C blade as well. This is a black one, but it'll also come in the stone-washed thumb studs that match the hardware, kind of a copper-colored thumb stud on this shipwreck version. And you can see all the screws match as well, and also the pocket clip. So on something like this, you're really just paying for that handle material. If you like it, it does make it look more premium. Along with that hardware, it's a good looking knife for sure, but the steel is going to be the same as the $55 14C version. One more closer look there at that pivot though, really cool looking. Now this one is their new, recently released. It's a premium version, crystallized titanium, M390 steel on the blade. They call this a pearlescent finish, and like I said, not really much different from the other stonewash finishes. It's a fine, bead blasted look that's got a little bit of sheen to it, but obviously M390 is an upgrade. You're gonna have longer edge retention than any of the other steels here. Some blue hardware to match. Action feels pretty smooth on this one as well, to be expected obviously for the price. You're looking at about $240 with this one, but really nice looking crystallized tie. Comes in, I think, 4 different colors. Reversible pocket clip on this one as well. This does have a filler tab, which is nice, and then you do have a titanium pocket clip. Also, you'll notice the thumb studs are a bit different. All right, a little more detail on the high-end one. Now, like I said, the D2 ones all feel a little bit stiffer even after some use. This one probably feels the smoothest, which it should because of the price. I'm flicking it right-handed, and I'm not right-handed, but pretty nice and easy. Let's see, can I do it with my thumb? Yep. Here's a front flipper on this one. Very easy compared to the others. Titanium backspacer as well. It's nicely done. It's a really cool looking knife for sure. Now, I want to weigh all these because there's probably some differences there. Everything else, like I said, dimensions is the same. Blade steel's 0.12 of an inch. Blade shape, blade length, the shape of the scales, all the same, just different materials. So let's start out with the D2 G10 version here. 4.05 ounces. Let's do this G10 version. 4.2 ounces, camo carbon. 4.15, micarta, 4.05, and then the tie, 4.3. So I just looked online. Apparently that's pretty accurate what the scale said. So they're all just minor differences. In the hand and day-to-day use, you're really not going to notice it. I expected this camo carbon one to be a little bit lighter, but I guess holding them side to side, it's not by much. So now going into pros and cons with these. Cons first. Really my one main con with this is I'm not a huge fan of the front flipper on these. I don't really think the geometry of it is super well done. I think it could be maybe slightly higher or angled in a bit. Also, like I pointed out, the sharpening choil doesn't give you a whole bunch of room to work with until it thickens up there, so you could have kind of a funky looking edge after multiple sharpenings. And honestly, it looks a little bit thinner on that tie version compared to on the more budget-friendly versions. Going into pros, great user knife. I love this blade shape. It's about the perfect size for me when it comes to EDC. 3-inch, little bit more blade. The action is really good on it, especially on the ones that are above the D2 version. I really like drop points. Big plus that it uses all T8 hardware. The pocket clips, even on the budget ones, are great. No issue there. Also, it's kind of fun having multiple different ways to unlock a knife. You got that liner right there, or the button right there. Detent feels good. They're all very centered. For the budget ones, it's a lot of knife for the money. Now, would I go and spend the extra on the 14C compared to the D2? I think I would. It's just a little more user-friendly to me. Easier to sharpen, gets super duper sharp. But if 35 bucks is what you got, G10 version's definitely worth it. So the budget guys here, all definitely worth it. 2 thumbs up. Now, with these special, camo carbon versions, you got to really like the look of it because you're not getting anything extra in performance, but they look really cool. And with this guy, $240, a little bit high for me. I think that, 200, maybe slightly less, 190 would be awesome. I do think Crystallized tie just costs a little bit more to create. M390 is good, but it's not my favorite super steel out there, but just love the look of this thing. That's why I picked it up. Great action on this. So I think that's it, guys. Please like and subscribe. It definitely helps out the channel. I really appreciate it. Gonna have a lot more content to come. Check out my shorts, my full lengths, all that good stuff. And let me know what you guys think in the comments. Which one is your favorite, or do you have experience with it? That about wraps it up. Until next time, thanks for watching.